welcome to Card Design Thursday, where each week I design a new card to build up my card stash and hopefully yours too. So today I designed a card with some meaning behind it because I wanted to pay, I guess, in remembrance of those who have been killed in the past few weeks through acts of violence, whether it be innocent citizens or police officers. So I just like to pay my respect to them. So let me show you what I'm going to be using. It's going to look strange, like how is this going to be in remembrance, but I'll explain as I go along. So first let me just show you what we're going to be using today. I found some more paper, leaf paper, in my stash, so we're going to be using this. We're going to be using craft paper, and we're going to be using some white cardstock. And you'll see how that goes together. We're also going to be using my Tim Holtz Distress Crayon in peeled paint. We're going to be using 2 stamp sets from MayMayMadeIt.com. And this is her newest stamp set in the Scripture Stamp Club. And it's called Blessings. And it has some really nice sentiments, and I love the leaves and stuff on it. It just fits so well with the fall. And also, this is becoming one of my favorites, Memory Lane. I'm going to be using a sentiment off of this. I'm also going to be using some burgundy and some copper metallic inks. And we're going to be using the Mini Misty today, which I also got from May May Made It. Some 3D foam squares and some pop-up dots. So, and of course, you know, the art glitter glue. So let's get started. Okay, so let me show you the card first. This is the card right here. And I use the leaf paper as the first mat. And then I use the thin foam squares to lift another piece up. And then I used pop dots to lift the top sentiment part up. And let me give you the dimensions of card. This is the A2 card, which means that it's 4.5 by, 4.25 by 5.5. And then this mat right here is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then this mat right here is 3 3/4 by 4. And then this one right here is a 3 by 3 square. Okay, so that is the card today, and I will explain how this is a remembrance as we go along building the card. So I've already cut the card just in interest of time. And if you'll notice, all the cards are done in squares. And the reason, except for this, but the reason why I did it like this, in squares and rectangles, is because that's how our cities are laid out, in grids of squares and rectangles. So we have that, and I'm going to go ahead and glue this first mat on with my art glitter glue. I honestly don't know what I did without this glue before. Let's see. Just kind of eyeball this and make sure it's even before I make sure it's all sealed down good. Okay, and we're going to put that to the side for right now. And we are done with our art glitter glue. So let me put the pin back in it. Alright, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to put this aside for right now, is to get my scrap piece of paper over here that I've been inking and stuff on. And we're going to color this white square with our crayon, Distress crayon, with the peel paint. Okay, and then let me get my towel over here and dip it in some water. And we're just gonna smooth this out with some water. I'm also going to wipe these edges down because they, that's where some of the crayon gets over there, and this does have wax in it, so it could potentially get all over your project. Okay. Now I'm going to take some of the copper metallic ink and a little spongy here, and let me wipe some more of this off. Okay, I'm going to dab a little bit here, and I'm going to dab some on my paper so that I'm not getting a really harsh line. And I'm just going to go around this and knock back the green a little bit so it kind of blends into the browns with the background paper. And a good tip for this is you want to kind of go in circles so that way you don't leave any kind of harsh lines. Okay, and now I'm going to just hit the edges so that this white is not shining up there. And I did not ink the base mat. It's glued down, so but I am going to ink this one right here while I got it out. Just ink the edges, the sides, so it doesn't have the white showing. And if it gets a little bit on the front side, that's okay. Okay, so we are done with that. Now, we're going to move on over to the Misty. And I'm going to get my stamps here set up. This is going to go in the corner like this. I'm going to put a magnet down here and a magnet down here. And then I'm going to place my sentiments on it. And this says, give thanks, gather a harvest of love. Now, I chose this because that's what we need to do as a nation, is gather a harvest of love. Love for each other, love for our neighbors, our just people in general. And because I truly believe love is the answer to most of the problems in the world. And then I also have this little maple leaf leaf here, just to kind of tie in our leaves a little bit. I'm going to put that right there. And close the lid and pick this up. And then make sure we put our card back down. in the corner. And then I'm going to use my burgundy ink to stamp this. Now, I chose the green. Well, I went with the paper, but I also chose the green because green is actually, when I was doing some research, a color for hope. And we need hope desperately in our country. It's also a color of renewal. And we definitely need that. We need to renew the spirit, human spirit in our country. So, we are going to stamp that like that. And I think I'm going to go over this leaf one more time. This is what I love about the MISTI. It's because if you don't get a dark enough image, you can go back over it and you don't mess up. Much better. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my magnet around. And I'll dab this off a little bit so I didn't get ink all over the place. I am going to reposition my wheat shafts. I really like the stamp set from the Scripture stamp set from May. It's got some beautiful verses on there and just beautiful sentiments. Okay, I'll lay this over here. And then I'm going to put this one right here. I'm going to put this back down in the corner. You always want to make sure you line it up in the corner. And then press down. Pick up your stamps. Make sure you're realigned in the right place. Okay, and then I'm going to ink these back up. I'm just wiping some of this ink off the lid. I'm going to push that down. And I'm going to go back over those one more time also. Okay, and we are done with that. Oh, I smeared a little bit. That's okay. Wipe that right off. Alright. So let me get my stamps off of here. Now I'm gonna go back and clean my stamps with my Brutus Monroe cleaner, which also can be found at May's. Or BrutusMonroe.com. Alrighty. We can now put that away. And we're going to stamp a sentiment on the inside of the card before we do it. And I left this raw inside with no matting inside, because as a nation, that's how we should feel, is raw. And not, not numb and not like, I don't know what to say, the word for it, but we should just have raw emotions about what's going on. enough so that we can cry out to the one that can help us. And that's what the sentiment's about. It says, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His love endures forever. And thank God for that. Okay. Let that dry for a second. And I'll start assembling the card. Now, I'm going to use the thin 3D foam things that I also got from May. For the front sentiment. I mean, not the sentiment, but for the second mat. I want to give it some height, but I don't want to make it too high or whatever. So I'm using the 3D foam because while they give it some depth and dimension, they don't give it too much. Trying to check my time here. Alrighty. So let me see which way I want to line this up. Okay, got that down. So now I'm just going to put pop dots on the green parts to make it stand up a little bit more. Oops. Okay, one more in the middle. I don't like it to sag. So I actually might put one at the top and the bottom too. Okay, I got all that done. We got all the little white dots out of the way. Bring the card back over. Alright. So I'm just going to eyeball and center this up. Oops. That is a little off there. There we go. Okay, guys, so that's our card. And I really like it. So let me just go over and tell you what I felt like the meaning was here. So I did all squares and rectangles to represent the city's grids, the grids and the layout of our cities. And then I chose the green distress crayon to color the background of the sentiment for hope and renewal. And then I used the burgundy ink for the blood that's been spilled and shed in our country. And then the sentiment, gather a harvest of love, is to remind us that we should love and respect each other. And that love is the answer to the problems, not only in our nation, but in the world. That's just my beliefs. And then on the inside, I left it plain. It's just kind of raw so that we can tap into that raw emotion that we should have when others are senseless act of violence occurs. And then the sentiment, give thanks, that we should always be thankful, but we should give thanks to the Lord, for he is good and his love endures forever. And that's from Chronicles 16:34. And his love does endure forever. So that is my card this week. And now, of course, you can recreate this card without using, you know, the same sentiments or whatever, or different paper and everything. I like the way, you know, just showing you another way also how you can incorporate your other paper and build up on it. Actually, I came up with this because when I was cutting my paper, I had this square left, and I really didn't want to waste it, and it was too small to go on a card, so I decided to build up the base and make it multi-dimensional. So that is my card for this week, guys. I hope you will go out and try to recreate it. And just thank you so much for watching and your support. And just to let you know, my Etsy shop will be opened up on Friday morning. So I will put a link. If I don't put a link in below, I may just do a quick little video because I have mailbag coming out on Friday for sure this week. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you've not done so. Don't forget to head over to MayMayMadeIt.com and check her stamps and things out. She has some wonderful stuff over there. And also, check out my friend G's store, G's Embellishment Emporium. Love him. Love his store. He's got some great Christmas items in there now. Alright, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love you all. Bye.